Shooting USA is brought to you by SnapSafe and their full line of premium vault doors. Use code SUSA15 to save 15% at SnapSafe. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome Lee Nuguit to the podcast. Lee, welcome.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. You are one part of the gold-winning men's open senior squad from World Shoot. Tell me about the experience in South Africa.
Yeah, experience was great. Once we got there, it was my first international match shooting internationally. So it was a little bit intimidating, but luckily we've got a bunch of people here in Florida that are from South Africa. Told us about everything, told us how it was. But once we got there, it was great. So, you know, like everybody else, we had some issues with paperwork. I was one of the lucky ones that didn't have my permits for my two open guns. So, but once we got there, the police officer went in the back. He says, "Well, hopefully I have it." So he went to the back, printed them out, came out, and he had my paperwork. And then that was the only thing really that I was really, really worried about. Driving on the other side of the road was a little bit different, right? And driving on the other side of the car, that was pretty unique. But match was unbelievable. So, for me, it's my first time shooting with, everybody from a different country, and being of that magnitude, right?
Sure.
The match was great. Really, really, really enjoyed our time.
Well, we know Shannon was part of the team. We know Shannon's
Yep.
down there near you. You guys shoot together a lot. Talk about the travel piece, because others I've talked to kind of had to finagle their way on board with the correct amount of ammo, and knowing that you're running open gun, that's specialized ammo. Any funny business
Yeah.
there? Or, yeah.
Yeah, and we tried. John Floret was able to get me and Shannon some of the ammo from there. It didn't even make Power Factor, but so we try to get ammo. Obviously, that didn't work for us when we tried to send it. So, but yeah, so I was one of the ones that was shipped or brought enough ammo in my luggage to get through the match. So the backup for but I had just gotten this open gun for World Shoot, specifically from my builder, and so it only had a few weeks of me breaking it in. So we originally tried to ship 2,000 because I knew this was going to happen. That I needed we went up a week ahead so that I could practice and put some more rounds through the new gun before the match. And so I brought enough specifically just for the match in my luggage, but we ended up buying some of the match ammo over there. And so it was making Power Factor, but I did have some issues, like a lot of other people too. So especially 38 Super people. So I think Henning and Joe Draghi, who are also on the Senior Open team, they were having some issues. I think Henning was good, but I know Joe. But he made it through and got with some people, worked on his guns, and Joe ended up winning senior, senior open,
Right.
or super senior open, right? So he did very well too. So all in all, we got through it. So, but
Yeah.
I've heard other stories, and we got through it and we made it through. So it was great.
And for your first time to a World Shoot, to bring home gold and be a part of the team, helping to amass that score that wins everybody those gold medals. There's got to be a sense of pride in that, and sense of accomplishment.
Yeah. It was huge. Even after the first day, I don't like to look at my scores, right? Because it kind of gets into my head, and it'll either force me to make mistakes or stuff like that. So, but the guys on the team were informing us that we're up ahead a little bit, and then. But after day two, it kept increasing each day. So it was wonderful. It was great. So
how did you find the challenge in the match? Running 5 what are they, like, 1/3 of the day kind of squattings, but over the course of 5 days, that's a long time to stay focused and stay locked in.
It was. It was definitely a challenge. And especially when we got there, the targets were more wide open.
Mm,
So it was nothing what we practiced. So it's nothing what JJ Rakaza and Shannon Smith and I practiced. We practice here a lot in
mhm,
Florida, and so he's telling me about the targets that we need to be practicing on, this and that, and that's all we practice for. We get there, we're looking at the stages, and we're like, totally different. And then these high hit factors that we were seeing on the pre-match. So we came a week early just so that I can get acclimated and stuff. And being first time, I was just like, get in there ahead of time, check everything out, look at stuff, look at the stages as much as we could. And with the wide open targets, it was just like, wow, this is definitely unique. So, and it was the schedule was pretty not tough, but it was it was like 2.5 hours. They had 4 schedules, started at 6:30, and then the last schedule was at 3. And so it was pretty intimidating because they got you through 6 stages each session to
mm,
get through. So you had to change your mindset about it. A lot of times when we shoot matches or shoot up other IPSC matches, you have a little bit to think about the stage, my positioning, where I'm going to be here and that. When I started getting my full plan of what I was gonna do and how I was gonna shoot it, it was just like, "Oh, you're already on deck." And I'm like, "Whoa." So, but in 6 stages in 2.5 hours, it was pretty grueling, but it was a lot of fun.
yeah, sounds like now, is the whole men's senior open team squatted together? Were you and Hennig and Shannon and everybody
Yep.
together?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was really good. And so we were all squatted together and we were shooting with Thailand team,
okay,
with their senior open team, because I guess they won the last time. I don't remember, but
wow,
yeah, so we were squatted with them, and yeah, it was good. They were great, and so just being with other team members, we all know what our each of our strengths, because we've been shooting together a while. So Joe Drage's in Florida too, so we
mhm,
shoot a lot together. So the only person that was not was Henning, but we always see him at the major matches. We always see him at the area matches and stuff. So
sure,
we all knew what our strengths were and stuff like that, and we all played a part in helping each other out, delegating, make sure that they're scoring targets are good. It was a great team atmosphere. It was so awesome.
that's awesome. It's really neat that this sport can invite as many different people from the States to the world stage and then have as many of the US shooters have just tremendous success there. Why do you think the US shooters are so dominant, at least in this particular world shoot?
I think when we all realized the targets, and there was some hard targets in there, but there was not as many as you normally would see.
Mm,
So it played I think that was a huge role in how the US dominated it.
yeah.
But with it being wide open and higher hit factors, I mean, some of those stages were doing 10, 11, 12 hit factors, and I'm
Wow.
like, whoa, right? So, and the open division national team hadn't even shot yet, right? This is before any of that, and we were really, 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 really surprised. So, but that, I think that plays a lot in how anybody from the US shoots. So,
Yeah. Awesome. The question I've kind of thrown at everybody else about South Africa, give me the highlight of your trip, not shooting related. Something you ate,
not shooting
something you
related.
saw.
So
Yeah.
we didn't Shannon and I we were going around with it. We were traveling around with each other and stuff like that. We stayed pretty close. His Airbnb was only like 4 minutes away, so we were hanging around. We were hanging out with each other a lot. But the biggest thing is we booked a safari tour
Yeah.
in Pilanesberg. So that was just the highlight. So he doesn't want to admit this, but he told me, Shannon said, he goes, I wanted to see a rhino on my bucket list. That was one of the
Yeah.
things on the bucket list that I wanted to see. Once I do that, he said, but it's, when you're in a preserve like that in the wild, you may or may not see it.
Right.
But like I think it was like 8, 10 minutes in, saw a big, huge baby rhino and a mother rhino just walking around
Mm,
together, like pretty close, like pretty close to each other. So to our tour truck and that, and so, but yeah, that was a big thing. So we booked a 6 hour tour with lunch, and we saw everything. We saw three of the big five. I mean, yeah,
yeah.
that was huge. That was huge because sometimes you only see one, sometimes you only two, sometimes some people say they don't see anything. And we saw
Awesome.
three of the big five and stuff. So yeah, it was just a great trip. We did that after the match. We
Right.
knew the chaos that was going to happen at the airport the day after. So we were
Right.
like, we'll go back in a couple of days afterwards, and then, and check things out. So we did that.
Yeah.
That was probably the big highlight of the thing,
That's
of the
awesome.
whole trip.
Um, let's flash forward now to race gun. We just saw each other in Utah a couple weekends ago. Um, you had your medal on display there. It's over your shoulder right now.
Oh yeah.
So that
Yeah.
is super cool. Um, Tell me about Race Gun Nationals. Tell me about back out there at Southern Utah and all the work that they've done to
Yeah.
redo that range.
Yeah, yeah, that was so the la I we were there, the last time we were there was in 2019 at the last
Right.
race gun nationals, and that was the last time
Right.
we were there. And so, and I like, the range was great, the range was really, really cool. So we come this time, like everything's opposite and everything's redone. I was like, wow. So,
Right.
but race gun was pretty good for me, actually. I was pretty surprised. I didn't, my goal this year was world shooting. That's what it really was, I was concentrating on.
Sure.
But
Sure.
but I was already scheduled to shoot race gun anyway, so went in and I was like, didn't have any expectations. But yeah, love the range, love the hard pack ground that they had. The stages were wonderful, and yeah, it was probably, I had a pretty decent finish for
Yeah. I mean, I've got you
for where I'm at. Yep.
28th in open. Notably not considered a senior in USPSA, interestingly
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
you,
yeah, I'm 52 years old, right? So it's hard to keep up with to keep up with
right.
some of these guys, but the stage is tailored for what I like, more movement than a lot for me, because I can move pretty quick in between and stuff like
Sure.
that, and the stage has dictated that pretty well. So I had a good first day, and I had a very good third day. The second day,
Hmm.
I was a little off. I was a little bit off the pace, but
Hmm.
I was like, okay, not a problem. But didn't have too many expectations, right? Just like, I'll just
Yeah.
shooting 90, and then probably one of the best matches that I've had where I've shot 95% of the alphas.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me. But yeah, yeah.
Interestingly enough,
Whoa,
I don't know if you've done this. I was looking at category results, and I was not knowing until now that you're 52. Um, I was looking at category results, expecting to see you up there in the senior finish, right? And so Hennig
yeah,
wins it going away for the seniors.
yeah,
But then I find you 28th, among the general population, and then I take your score back to the category results. That would have been good enough for a silver for second place in
yeah.
seniors. So you got what, three
Yep,
more years before you're considered a senior in USPSA?
I do. Yep, yep. I
Yeah,
have three
I
more
think they're on
years.
notice. I think they're on
Yeah,
notice. You'll be there. You're gonna be a
absolutely.
podium guy or better in the senior division in not too long a time, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep, yep. I'll be
Excellent.
I'll be going after it pretty hard.
My guy. Thank you again for the time. That's everything I've got.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yep. Hope to see you soon.